Welcome to the Titans of the Southwest podcast, episode 0, with your host today, Big Mo. I'm joined today by Lito, and we are based out of New Mexico. Today we're going to tell you a little bit about ourselves. Lito.
Yeah, man. I'm really excited about doing this. Obviously, my name is Lito. I'm up in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Been in New Mexico for most of my life. Been a Titans fan for almost all of it as well. So I'm excited to get this going and kind of explain to you guys why we're here, who we are, why you should care, and maybe entertain you while we're at it.
Right, and me, a lot of you guys know me from Twitter and from my articles that I write online about the Titans, covering them. I'm in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I've been a Titans fan since the Oiler days. Some of you who follow me might have heard me kind of mention how I fell into being a Titans fan almost accidentally. Um, which, if you haven't listened to that, I mean, it'd be a good idea to go check that out. For us here, though, we kind of we wanted to have our own place where we could talk about the Titans and kind of represent the fans that are outside of Nashville, outside of Tennessee, like us in New Mexico. There's not many of us in New Mexico that like the Titans.
Yeah, there's really not. It's amazing. I mean, we're surrounded. We have Arizona on one side, Cardinals, Colorado on the top, which is all Broncos, and then we have the dreaded Cowboys and Texans on the other side. So we are completely surrounded by other franchises, and I'm the same with you. I've been with them since they were the Oilers, and it's because they were right next door. But I didn't jump ship or anything. I went with
Yep.
them all the way out, and I remember hearing your story of how you became a Titans fan. It was what, your abuelita, your grandma, that got you a stuffed.
No, no, it was my mom, man.
Oh, it was
It
your
was my
mom.
mom. She had got me this stuffed buddy that she thought was a WWE wrestler, WWF wrestler at the time, and it actually ended up being Warren Moon. So I just dug it, man, and and I was like, I like this uniform, I like this look, but at the same token, I was still too young to even like really gravitate to a team.
Yeah, that's so crazy because I was listening to that, and I've told people this way long ago. So you guys can fact check me. You can do whatever. But there's so many similarities because whenever I was young, my abuelita, my grandma, she got me a Warren Moon statue figure in the Oilers uniform, everything. And the only thing that moved on it was his helmet came off. It was just one of those figurines that you see like at Hastings and stuff like that. She got that for
Wow.
me, and that's how I got turned on to the Oilers. And I was so young because I have one brother who is a Ravens fan. I have another brother who's currently a Colts fan, and so we all hate each other just about every Sunday. But outside of Sunday or whenever our teams are playing, it's awesome. We're all football, but it's so crazy the similarities between the two, and I was just laughing my butt off whenever I heard that.
Wow, man. I thought I had it rough, like, being around, because my stepdad, he likes the Buffalo Bills.
Mm,
My mom, she's Vikings. They're all kind of all over the place, man. You know what I mean? My uncle Steelers. With you saying you grew up with brothers who are Ravens and Colts, two of the teams that any Titans fan hates,
yeah,
that's got to make for some pretty fun Thanksgivings, bro, I imagine.
it really does because we may not do food fights or anything, but they'll just kind of look over to me and be like, "Hey, what happened on Sunday?" And it's just like, "Ah, screw you!" like,
Uh,
like you just shut up, And we were pretty bad there for a few years, but now it's like, "Oh, hey, I call my brother the Colts fans. Like, what's going on? Like, how'd it go? Like, what happened? Where are you guys at? And I'll give him grief for it,
yeah.
and it's fun to finally have a leg up on them, or at least be on the same playing field as them now, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean it had to be a good year for you, man, because we beat the Ravens and
Yep,
we swept the Colts.
yep.
So your brothers couldn't have been talking too much smack this year.
Nope, they just had to listen to it, and it was a lot of fun. And I dealt it out any chance we got. I mean, I had one brother calling and be like, "Hey, we're having a baby." It's like, "Oh, it's cool." Chit chat here a little bit and be like, "Yeah, the Colts suck." Just inject it into every single conversation we have. And I'm sure it'll come back to me, whenever we lose to them in the future, because seasons ebb and flow a little bit. But right now, I have it, and they know it, and I'm gonna make sure they don't forget it. I love it. Did you play football back in the day yourself, or did you play any other sports?
Yeah, I did. I played, I really was into football, man. I played my freshman and sophomore season, and then I broke my leg and I wasn't able to play my junior year. I look forward to coming back and playing again my senior year, hopefully, but then I injured my back, had to have back surgery. So I lost out on my last 2 years where I could have played and where I think I would have actually been better because my head and my heart were more into it. It's
Yeah,
just my body wasn't into it. My body couldn't take it. During that time that I couldn't play, I was devastated, and I actually found an outlet, man, which ironically is writing about sports. I
yeah.
was approached by my English teacher, Miss Sarah Ball, and she could tell, I guess, that I was just down in the dumps a little bit because I knew I couldn't play, and she was able to get me an opportunity writing not for the school paper but for a local city paper a little up north from where I grew up, and I would just be responsible for covering the local sports. And I covered everything from volleyball, basketball, football, track. um, I would, do little write-ups on it, and I was making money writing about my high school team. Um, and it was great, man. It was great. It allowed me a release, and it allowed me to actually learn more and understand about these different sports, the hard work that goes into each sports. It just had me look at them, each sport, including football, a little bit differently, from like an outsider's point of view. And for the longest time, once I left high school, a lot of people felt like I was probably going to go into journalism to continue writing about sports. And I should have, and I could have, but I didn't. I ended up pursuing a degree in psychology. So I got my bachelor's in psychology, but I never really, it was never really a passion of mine, man. I got back into writing just this past year when I got injured at my job as a correction officer. I just started doing my thing, man, and the flame was relit, reignited, and now I'm like full fledged into it, man. Now I developed a fan base, some dedicated followers who I appreciate, who always show love, and I appreciate both the love and the negativity, man. Any feedback is good for me because it lets me know how I need to adjust my ways of working. But yeah, man, how about yourself? Did you play or?
I actually did. I went to a smaller school, so we had 6-man football
I
teams.
played six man too, man.
It's crazy. It's a whole
It's
different
different.
animal. I play, in 6-man, you kind of have a smaller
Everybody's
team,
an eligible receiver, right?
everybody, and the
Yep.
quarterback can't cross the line of scrimmage unless they hand it off to somebody. So every team would hike the ball to the running back would immediately hand it off to the quarterback, so that way they'd have the option to run past the line of scrimmage or not. But in the smaller teams, you don't have a whole roster, so you kind of have to play both ways. I remember I played
I did
quarterback
too. Yep.
and defensive back, and that was where I was. I look back at it and I'm like, I probably wasn't as good as I thought I was, but I've always loved the sport. It's been just a huge thing for me because football is one of those things. It's such a team sport. Baseball, basketball, all these things you can get away with. Maybe not everybody pulling their own weight because you have a LeBron James, you have someone crazy in baseball. I don't follow it enough to even give a sample name. You have that person, but in football, your right guard. He goes down, he doesn't do his job, bam, the whole play's done. Everybody just has to work as a team. Your wide receiver, even if it's a run play, if he doesn't clear it out completely, there's one extra person in the box.
Uh-huh.
Everything depends on this really beautiful balance. And I've just always loved football like that. I never wrote or anything like that, like yours. I would reply to blog posts, and I was always here and there kind of stuff. The
Uh-huh.
most writing I did was for the Sims and Lefko podcast on Bleacher Report,
Oh
and I
wow.
kind of just fell into it. I was listening one day because I just listened to podcasts all day long, and they mentioned something like, "Oh, we need a constitution for this show." And I've always been decent at writing, and I've been able to kind of bullshit my way in and out of just about everything. So I was like bored one day, and I was just like, "All right, whatever." And so I just wrote up a little mock thing, and I sent it into them, just kind of on a whim. Didn't think I'd even get a reply. Didn't get think I'd get anything, and they were just like, "Man, I hope you have more of this because we're going to be putting you to work." And then they just like three amendments every single week, and their amendments were just like, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback of all time," and then I'd have to write a little excerpt about it, and then like Kyle Shanahan is our favorite coach of all time, and then I'd write a little excerpt. But then it
Oh
got
wow.
like into really fun stuff of why players are more important than scheme and things like that. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with
Oh,
it, and
that's
I
different. That's a little
yeah,
different.
yeah, and they were really cool guys. They read it all on the podcast. It's all in all their videos. They're a little bit older now, but if you go back and look at it, they're really cool. They would message me back and forth, and be like, "No, we don't like that. Well, we like this, and change this a little bit." And so they kind of really relit, like, "Hey, like I think we could probably make something out of this because." I'm not saying I'm a comedian by any chance, but I mean, I think that to start a podcast, you have to be a little bit arrogant to think that people want to actually listen to you. You know, you have to have that
Right.
air of confidence. And so it was like, I think that really helped me get that confidence to just like, hey, like if these guys like it and they're reading it and they're getting, people showing it some love, I think I
Yeah,
could
then it
probably
must
do
be
this.
good, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so that's when I found you, reached out to you, and it's like, hey, I think we can do this. And we're both proud New Mexicans. And it's just like, let's do it together. And so I think it's going to be really, really good. And I'm looking forward to everything that's coming.
Hey, well, the good thing, man, being a Titans fan now and compared to being a Colts fan, is the Colts already lost.
Yeah,
They lost out on Josh McDaniels today, who accepted the job and backed out. What do you think about that?
I love it. I absolutely love it. If any franchise is going to get rickrolled, I would rather it be the Colts, just because it's amazing. Either the Colts or the Jags, because screw the Jags. But the Colts, it just makes it so much more personal. They're right in our division. They've always had this kind of air of superiority about them, and it's just like,
uh,
nope, you guys missed out on the person that you were holding out for, and that's on you.
and that worked out crazy, man, because now it makes John Robinson look so much better
It.
because a lot of people felt like when we didn't, ink Malarkey, that
Mhm.
McDaniels was the guy, man. So that could have happened to us, man. Really, it could have happened to the Titans waiting out for McDaniels and then him, snubbing us. But I'm happy it didn't happen to us, and we got our coaching staff set. It seems pretty solid, and the Colts are still in flux now,
Yeah,
which is
it's really interesting because whenever this whole thing hit, we signed Vrabel. We started hiring all these lower downs, and then we got Lafleur, and then we got Pease, and everyone was like, "Oh, well, I guess they kind of salvaged it, but they could have waited." And now everything's done and over with, and it's like, nope. If we would have waited, we would have looked like that, just egg on our face. And then I'm thinking DiFilippo is going to stay with the Eagles now that they have to rehab Carson Wentz and they have Nick Foles there. I mean, I don't know if he's really going anywhere, and most of
yeah.
the
I don't
good
I don't
jobs are
think
already
he's gonna
taken
leave.
too. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna leave, man. And he might have actually announced that he's staying. I'm not too sure. Don't
okay.
quote me on that, but
I don't know.
I know that, yeah, a lot of Titans fans were clamoring for McDaniels, if not him, DeFilippo. And I mean, both of those guys are pretty locked into to where they're at. So we didn't jump the gun after all.
No, in J Rob we trust, man. Like
Yep.
that man. I swear, I went to a Titans game last year. Actually, the
Which
first year
game?
they were good. We planned a trip to Nashville. My wife and I. We planned a trip to Nashville, and she was like, "All right, which game do you want to go watch?" Because she's a Giants fan. She's from New York, so she's a Giants fan.
Oh, you
And
haven't converted her yet?
no, I think she's slowly coming around though because it happened this year where we're good and the Giants suck, and she hasn't watched a whole lot of football. I mean, she's cool. She does fantasy football and stuff like that. But she was like, "Well, which game do you want to watch?" And I was like, I don't know," because we had just come off the 3-win season, and I'm just like, probably let's go for the Browns because that's a pretty safe bet. Let's watch the Browns game. And so we went. We've got tickets to Browns in Tennessee, and we went and watched that. We got seats that were 3 rows up right behind the bench. They were super
Oh
cheap because
man.
people were just trying to unload it because we weren't good. And
Yeah.
so 3 rows up, and holy cow, I could not have been like, I don't think I stopped smiling for maybe 48 hours. I was just so stoked. And I got a glove from Delaney Walker. It was
Oh,
awesome.
that's awesome, man. Was
Yeah.
that your first time going to any Titans game, or was that your first time going to Nashville? Or
That was my first time going to a Titans game. My only other NFL game prior to that was I went to a Cowboys Broncos game. It was a preseason game, but it was back in the day where there was Troy Aikman, Emmett Smith, John Elway, like all of those guys, and I was
oh
just like,
wow.
"Holy crap!" It was awesome. And they went and got the film developed, and they put me in charge of the camera, which was stupid because I was a kid, and so the pictures come back, and it was mostly cheerleaders. But I
Oh,
didn't feel bad about that at all because Dallas Cowboy
you
cheerleaders.
probably still have those framed up, man.
I do. I really do. I have them just right at the ceiling, on top of the ceiling, so it's the last thing I see at night. It's amazing. Uh,
Oh,
but that was the first Titans game I ever went to, and I have a Titans jersey with the number 10 on it. Not for Jake
okay.
Locker. Not
Is it
for
Locker? Is it Young? Who you got?
No, no, no. See, that's the kicker on it.
Is
My
it Trey McBride? You got a
No,
Trey McBride jersey?
no. It's a personalized one because my wife was like, What jersey would you want?" And she got this before we even had Mariota. And I was like, honestly, I don't even know who our quarterback's going to be. My number in high school was 10. Just throw my last name on the back there. And that one I can wear forever, you know? And she's like, all right, cool.
Yeah, that's smart, bro.
Yeah. And so I went there, and Delaney Walker's all passing out gloves. And I'm sitting there already like with 2 beers down. And this is before the game, and I'm just like, "Holy crap, that's Delaney Walker!" And he's like handing them to
Oh,
the kids and stuff, but I don't care. I'm never going to see Delaney Walker that close again. So I was just like, "Hey, Delaney." And he looks up at me and he looks at my jersey, and you can tell he kind of was thinking about it like, who the bleep are you? Like, why are you wearing a 10 in my stadium right now? And I was just like, kind of shrugged my shoulders, like, it is what it is, man. But can I get a glove? And he just tossed me up a glove, and I'm like, oh my God. I kept that in my back pocket for longer than I'm proud to admit, but it was awesome.
it's probably still there.
It probably is, to be honest with you. It's awesome. Just seeing how big the hands are, and it's just like I got that straight from Delaney freaking Walker.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. What an experience, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
we
was.
we want to try to go out there this year, me and my family, man. We're trying to plan a trip. We were supposed to go try to catch the past 2 years, I should say. Last season, we were supposed to go catch the game against the Chargers. We weren't able to go, and a similar situation this season. We were supposed to go to Arizona to catch the Cardinals game, which now that I know how it ended, I would have still had a good time, bro. I
Yeah.
really would have. I would have still had a good time. But I
Yeah.
just hate losing, bro. I hate watching them lose. I,
Oh,
I it ruins my week, man. And I know there's a lot of people that are going to be listening to this that have that know exactly the feeling I'm talking about, bro.
oh yeah. When the Titans lose on the Sunday games, if it's the early game, I don't even watch football the rest of the day. My wife knows, my family knows. Just give him about a day or two, and like he'll be fine. You know, I'm not like lashing out at family or anything. I'm just like, I just don't want to socialize right now. Like, I'm not in a good place.
Yeah, like for me, like it's like leave me alone till next Sunday. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I'm like kind of like you. I'm not gonna be lashing out on anybody, but I'm definitely not. I'm definitely in a better mood if they win.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm like the most friendliest guy if they win too, man. Like my wife loves it. Like oh here I am washing the dishes, or you know what I mean. Like
Oh yeah.
I'm just super stoked.
Yep, I definitely know that feeling. And I think a lot of like really big fans are going to be the same way because I mean they care about it so much, and fan is short for fanatic, man. We're Titans fanatics, and like it's not just we're Titans watchers. We're not just occasional paying attention to words. We're fanatics and just
Yeah,
love the team, love the organization, just love everything about it. And so it will affect, and naturally it'll affect kind of your mood, um, like that. It is what it is. But
yeah, it just does, man. And I think for me, having because I started writing like officially writing or putting my thoughts out there about the Titans last June.
Yeah.
because my wife, she knew I needed an outlet, man, because I mean, poor her brain, because she would have to hear me talking about the Titans, like if a game, if we're looking at a free agent, if we're looking at a draft pick,
Hmm.
that's all I'd be talking about. And bless her heart, man, she listened with a smile, and I mean, she actually was educated a little bit too, so she would have a good grasp of when a new free agent would come in or a new draft pick would come in, she would already kind of have a little bit of background. So
That's
when I
awesome.
started, she kind of encouraged me to use an outlet. That way, all this knowledge that I have, knowledge or details that I'm always digging into, that way it's not like wasted. You know what I mean? Why not share it and why not spin these stats in ways that some people might like?
Definitely.
And a lot of people have, man. I'm very appreciative of all the people that have read my stuff and continue to follow me and read my stuff, because it's only going to get better,
No, I'm looking
especially
forward
now
to
that
it.
we got our little podcast going on, man.
Yeah.
Now they're gonna hear the voice behind the pen, and they get to hear your take on stuff, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be good, man. I'm so looking forward to it.
Oh man, I think we're gonna have a blast with this whole thing. It's gonna change a little bit throughout the off season. The structure might change a little bit, the tone might change a little bit. Just listeners, bear with us. I'm sure you understand. We're always gonna be honest with you. So if something happens we don't like, we're gonna say, hey, that didn't work out well. Sorry about that. We're gonna do it
Yeah.
differently. It is what it is. But yeah, that with your writing, that's how I found you, and just ran into you like, oh, this cat's from New Mexico. Like, holy cow. Like you said,
What a
we're
small
rare,
world,
man. Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. So it was like, hey, and then we decided we kind of put this in motion, say about 3/4 of the way through last season, I would say. Does that
Uh-huh.
sound about right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, we put this in motion. We created a Twitter handle, started a base following. I mean, if you guys already follow us on Twitter, we really appreciate it. If you don't, highly recommend it. Go out there, give us a follow. You'll be able to, kind of keep up with our content. Smart Alec remarks, get updates. Big Mo and I already have some pretty solid guests lined up, more than I thought we would have set up already at
Yeah,
this
that
point.
we still got to keep that hush hush,
Oh
man.
yeah.
We don't want to spoil anything,
Oh
man.
no,
But
we're not spoiling
I think
anything.
we're gonna surprise a lot of people with who we got lined up.
Oh yeah, I think so too. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and then you guys are gonna be surprised. I'm going to be smiling the whole time we're doing the interviews. I know you will as well, particularly on one of them. It's going to be
Oh
so
yeah.
much
Oh yeah, man. I can't
fun.
wait. I can't wait.
It's going to be great, man. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of just an introduction to us. We really appreciate fan feedback, interaction, especially because that's why we're doing this, is to kind of bring everybody together in one centralized location of, like, okay, so there's these cats out in New Mexico who are able to talk about this stuff. Big Mo's going to be a lot more of like the X's and O's stuff, and he's going to break stuff down for us whenever the season starts, before the season with draft. I'm going to lean pretty heavily on you, Mo. You already know that, but I'm just making
Yeah.
sure I'm telling you in
I'm
front
ready,
of
man.
everybody.
I'm ready.
So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to try and keep it light and joking around. And
Yeah, and that's gonna be kind of the tone, like you said. Keep it real lighthearted, real relaxed, real conversational. We want to be the guys that you'd want to, sit back and have a beer with. Um,
definitely,
and that's just us, man. That's how it's gonna be. We're gonna keep it simple, but still give you the facts that you need to know, the facts that you might not want to know, and the facts that, I mean, you have to know. That's gonna be us throughout the season. I mean, our season. Let's talk a little bit about the season before we wrap this up.
yeah.
Uh, we finished with the playoff win. Let's just go with that. We finished with the playoff win. We got an entire new coaching staff, one that's going to work around Mariota's strengths and use the team to the potential. I mean, we have a ton to look forward to going into the 2018 season, man. I don't know how you feel about it. I kind of have an idea how you probably feel about it, but I'm floored, man. I can't wait till the next season.
Oh, dude, I am ecstatic about this whole thing. And granted, most hires in the beginning, rose-colored glasses, puppy love kind of thing.
Right,
But with
right.
this one, when you take a step back and look at it, one of the big things that Vrabel and J Rob, I love J Rob. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll probably say it on every single episode. I don't care. I love J Rob. But the thing with that they both have an emphasis on is development, progress, and adaptability. And those are things that we haven't had. I mean, Malarkey, I know we may have differing opinions on it. I appreciated what Malarkey did. I understand the firing. I'm not losing any sleep over it. But the way Vrabel's going about stuff, I mean, you look at it, man, we have a young head coach who everybody has been saying for the past year or so, and even in his playing days, he's going to be a head coach someday because he just has that era about him. We have a
Yeah.
young offensive coordinator, which is what we need because we have a new style type quarterback. We have an old fashioned defensive coordinator who's been top 10, top 5 pretty consistently, and then with all that, we have the personnel that is just, I think most teams would be really, really jealous of. Not just Mariota and Davis and Henry and Casey, Morgan, Woodyard, Byard. I mean, I can keep
Yeah,
going. We
the
also
list goes
have,
on and on,
yeah.
man.
I mean, we also
We
have
have a
next
ton
season
of talent.
a ton of talent. Next season we have Aaron Wallace coming back on, as well as Tajay Sharp. I mean, everything is in line for it to be a solid run, and I couldn't be happier. I think we're both pretty optimistic in general, but this is just factual. We're gonna be
Yeah.
awesome.
No, no, you're right, man. You're right. The talent's there, and the good thing about it is the talent's hungry, and the talent just needed the right group of guys. Talking about coaching staff, the right group of guys to help them play to their potential, help them maximize their individual talents, help put them in positions where they can work well together instead of work well individually. I, I think we got the perfect guys to do it, man. I'm really looking forward to this season. Um, and that's not even counting the guys that we don't even know who are going to be drafted to the team.
Yeah, and
Like
free
if we have
agency.
another solid draft class, who knows what could happen, man.
Yeah, and it's amazing because J Rob has that sensibility to where I forgot who said it. I think it was Parcells. He said anybody can hit on a top 10 pick. It's in the 20s and 30s and in the later rounds that you really
Late
start to make your
rounders.
money.
Yep.
And you look at it, I mean, our late rounders are just, I mean, before Tajay Sharp went down, everyone was like, holy crap, we got this guy in what round again? Like, this guy's
In the
awesome.
fifth,
And
yeah, the fifth
yeah.
round, man.
And like a lot of these people he's just finding the talent, and now we're picking back later than we have in a while. Pick 25, I think, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be a big hindrance on him because he's like, okay, like this is what I do. I evaluate talent past the top 10, and we're going to get going. And then it's not even counting free agency, and man, we got nothing but good ahead of us.
I hear you on that, man. And I mean, we're not gonna paint an entirely beautiful picture. We gotta pull out the flaws every
We
now
do.
and again.
Oh God,
And J Rob, he's hit on most picks. He's missed on a few too.
dog.
But his entire body of work, I think, is exactly what this team needed, man. He helped pull us out of the dungeon, man, out of the depths of the NFL.
Yeah, I know that he hasn't hit on all of his picks, and that's completely okay. I mean, I don't know if you're ever going to hit on 100% of your picks, but I mean, he
Uh-huh.
gets starter after starter after starter, and then he'll get one that didn't live up to the potential. Then he'll get another couple starters. And also with free agency, I mean, I know a lot of people have said this, but I kind of think they might be right. Like, this might be the year that he really opens up that wallet a little bit more. Maybe goes after the Malcolm Butlers or goes after, these people that he didn't want to spend the money on last season
Uh-huh.
because now it's like he has his coach. He's getting it going. He's doing it his way. Mariota's coming up on contract. So is Lawan. If he's going to spend the money, he's got to do it now and have a front loaded contract so he can get that enticing people to come here and still, satisfy his current players.
No, no, I hear you, man. And and I think you're right, man. Now we got a taste this past season that the window is there. The window's there. I mean, we made the postseason. We won a postseason game. We lost to the team that nearly came back and won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
We're in elite company now. And when your rosters at that point where you're in elite company, you're gonna have to spend a little bit to make upgrades at positions that are already good. That's what the good teams do. They don't just settle, well, oh, player X is good enough. We
yeah,
can roll with him another season. Nah, man, if there's somebody out there, player Y, that's a little bit better than player X, you got to get him, man.
yeah,
Anything that's going to help upgrade the team and open up that window a little bit more, you're going to have to spend a little. And I think J Rob's smart enough that he's not going to overpay to where it compromises any other contractual moves he has to make. But I think he's going to be smart enough to know, okay, I might have to spend a little bit extra on this guy, but I know I'm gonna see the return from it. You know what I'm saying?
definitely. I'm looking forward to it just to see how it just falls into place.
Yeah,
He's gonna make moves that I'm gonna be like, I don't think he should have done that. But again, in J. Rod we trust. He's gonna make moves that I'm like, that's just stupid. Again, in J. Rod we trust. Whenever he traded away DGB for a backup lineman, everyone was like, what the crap is going on? Like, that was supposed to be our next guy. Like, I mean, the media just crucified us and everything. And then now DGB's not even in the league anymore, and we got next
we
man
got a
up.
pretty solid piece. Yeah, we got a pretty solid piece at tackle in Dennis Kelly.
Yeah.
I mean, he played more last season than DGB did, so I'd say we won that trade.
Oh, easily, easily. It's amazing. So, like I said, there's gonna be things he does that I may not necessarily agree with. My knee-jerk reaction might be one of negativity, but in the end, I mean, he's gonna work his magic. Some of it's gonna be successful, some of it might not be, but it's gonna be fun, guys. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would agree with you, man. I mean, you and I had talked before the show a little bit and kind of got a little bit of an idea of each other's personalities, and I mean, I think we'd both agree we're gonna mesh really well, man. Um, Similar senses of humor, similar outlooks, similar situations. I mean, I can't even believe you became a Titans fan by way of a Warren Moon toy in a weird way, bro. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's so weird. It's so weird. And then here we are building our own, building our own brand,
Yep.
building our own show, hopefully building a big audience. It's nuts, man. I'm at a loss for words, man.
Hey man, we all start somewhere, and all of those big cats started somewhere. This is our starting point, and for you guys to be listening at the starting point, and you're in at the very beginning, you're not going to regret it. I can tell you that much. You're
You
not going to
Stick
regret
it
it.
out.
Yeah, stick it out. The off season, we're gonna try and put out content. Like I said, we got interviews lined up to where you'll actually be listening to it because you're gonna start going through football withdrawals here pretty soon, guys. We're
Yep.
gonna try and help you out with that. We're gonna try and kind of feed that monster a little bit, keep you going, keep you excited about the year coming up, and like I said, at the very least, we're gonna be entertaining. So subscribe, like us, talk about us, even if it's negative. I really think we should do something where if somebody subscribes and then anybody who gives us a 5-star review on the podcast will read it on the air. Doesn't matter what it says, positive, negative, can say you guys suck. I don't care. It's a 5-star review. We'll read it on the air. We want to be interactive with you guys.
Yeah, like you said, we'll read everything, good feedback, negative feedback. We'll be able to tell the difference between if you're constructively criticizing us or if you're trolling us. But either way, we just want to put the best product out there. So please help spread the word. Big time interviews coming out, like you mentioned, huge interviews coming out. Big things are coming for the Titans of the Southwest, that's for sure.
I'm looking forward to it, Big Mo.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. Should we wrap this up and
Yeah, I say we wrap it up. Leave them wanting more. Always leaving wanting more.
all right then, man. Well, um, this was episode 0. Hope you enjoyed it. Follow us on Twitter at Titan Southwest. Any feedback is appreciated. Be on the lookout for big things coming. But for now, unless you have anything else to add, man, I guess we'll go ahead and sign off. This is Big Mo with Lito here, and tighten up.
Tighten up.